I wish everyone connected to the Automobile Academy YouTube channel a good day. Today I will tell you the basic things that a service advisor in the automobile field should know. There are two basic things you need to know as a service advisor: what a service advisor should be in a business of fundamental and how to receive and deliver a vehicle for a customer. The most important characteristic to have when working as a service advisor is the first impression. Under that, appearance, greeting, phone calls and cleaning, reception upon arrival. Okay, let's now see what a first impression is. First impression is the image a customer forms about a service advisor when they look at it with their eyes and hear about it with their ears. Then they measure this first impression 70% by looking at you with their own eyes, 20% by talking to you, and 10% by your other activities. Okay, let's see why this is important. When a customer comes to an organization, they remember the first impression they have for a short time. The other thing is that people like it because of the first impression. Do they like it or not? The other thing is that it is difficult for a customer to reverse a decision made by first impression. Here are the reasons why first impression is important in organization. Now let's look at the appearance, which is how you appear to customers as a service provider. Now you can see the differences between service identifier, A, and B. Here, as soon as you see the shape of A and B services, the first thing that comes to your mind is that, a service advisor. The reason for this is the picture created in your mind by the first impression in the topic I discussed above. Here, when looking at the service advisor, B, his dislike or dislike of the person. His unkempt hair, his untidy clothes, and his dislike of the person can be influenced as a rising impact. Here, when you work as a service advisor, your appearance is a topic that deserves a lot of attention. Next, we will talk about a topic called greeting. What is a greeting? How do you talk to a customer and maintain a relationship? Here are the basic characteristics that fall under greeting. Here, when a customer approaches you, you should greet him very politely, for example by saying good morning or asking how your day is. Moreover, when you deal with a customer and talk to him or when he leaves the workshop, you should give him a loving hug. Now let's see how this greeting relates to a workshop. This greeting is very useful when you are talking to a customer, or when you are in a waiting room with a customer, or when you are talking to other customers. It is very important. It is also very important to talk to people in your establishment and the organization you work for in a friendly manner. It is very important that you greet them first before they greet you. For example, if you say good morning when you arrive, it is a very nice thing to acknowledge. This will increase their interest in you. The other thing is the basics of phone calling. This is very important because if you don't know how to talk to an urgent customer on the phone, he may dislike you. So let me tell you a few points when making a phone call to a customer. First, if you want to make a phone call, you should draw a picture in your mind about what you are talking about. Then, if you are calling the customer, keep the phone on. If he doesn't like you when you call him, try to avoid calling him repeatedly. And if he does call you back, do this within 3 rings. After the customer answers the phone, greet him politely. Then, when he picks up the phone, you can simply tell him the problem you have about his vehicle. For example, if his vehicle has worn out front brake pads, you can make an estimate of it. Call the customer, explain it to him in a simple way, and you can get a quote from him for the approval. After that discussion, you can say thank you for calling the customer today and have a good day. Then you should hang up the phone. Here, Avoid hanging up before the customer hangs up the phone. Okay. Next we're going to talk about neat and clean reception. Here I'll show you this picture. Do you feel any discomfort when you see this? It's a negative thought that's stuck in your head. As I told you before, the first impression was the reason for this. That's why you should never place us like this in front of your company's reception. It can have a very bad impact on a company like that. Now look at this picture. The reception here has been cleaned well and kept in good condition. This creates a very good impression on the customer without a bad impact. Now let's look at why a reception is kept clean and tidy in this way. The first thing to do is to eliminate the bad feeling that a customer has when he enters a reception area or workshop, and to avoid any inconvenience caused to customers when they return to reception. Furthermore, by putting up labels and boards like this when entering the customs office, they can guide the customers to easily access the services they need without any hesitation. Here you must definitely keep the place clean and tidy. After that, the next thing we need to talk about is business communication, which is a special task that a service advisor must perform in a business. Here, the business communication of a service advisor within a business can be broken down into 3 points. One is reporting, the other is sharing information, and the third is asking for advice. Now let's see why this business communication is important. Here, business communication increases the engagement of a team. We can also reduce the problems and mistakes that may arise between us to a great extent. We can increase the efficiency of a working system and maintain a relationship with a good staff and customers through business communication. We can provide good service to the customer. If you are working as a service representative in a company, it is definitely important for you to improve your business communication skills. Now let's see what you as a service advisor should do under the reporting section. First of all, when a service advisor communicates with the customer, they should obtain information from him and often share that information with the service manager or working team. For example, when you are receiving a vehicle, if someone tells you a complaint about the vehicle, you should share that information with your team through a report. When reporting this information, you must ask the customer about the circumstances surrounding the incident and the time of the incident. Here, you need to be able to report simply so that other people in the same situation can understand your situation. Okay, let's now see how we can use this reporting section practically in a workshop. Here you can see this example. Here you receive a vehicle that is damaged by someone in the workshop and you are notified it. But it has to be delivered to the customer today. The first thing you should do here is report this to the chief advisor or service manager and then see if it can be fixed before the scheduled time today. If it can be fixed, it will be returned to the customer without any problems. Here we did it by reporting it and the customer was very happy with the delivery without any problem and he came back to the workshop. But if you ignore it and do not report it, then if the customer sees it as in this sample, he will be disappointed and will not be seen again in the workshop. Okay, what is the other point that comes under the sharing information and business communication that we just talked about? Sharing information means distributing the information you find between you and your staff. Let's see what this is sharing. When we share information, we can exchange messages from customers. And then we can talk about the target points in our company, and then we can talk about the objectives, and then we can talk about the problems. All of that can be taken under this sharing information. Then we can share this information in the morning meeting, in a team meeting, or in an evening meeting. Not only that, But if you have this information before leaving the message, you can share it with someone, whether you are not coming to the workshop or if there is some problem in the workshop. This information sharing can be shared with others. Okay, now let's see how an information sharing event is used in a practical in-shop situation. Here's an example where we've explained how to identify an event where a customer forgot to call his house and was in the car. Okay, let me tell you how to solve this problem in the best way possible. Okay, so here's where the customer calls me and tells me that the key to the vehicle is in the vehicle, and then I share that information with the team in the morning meeting. Then I quickly told him to hand over this key to him if I didn't come. If he came while I was there and I was busy with something else, someone on the other staff would know about that key and he could take it and hand it over to him when he got there. Or if I forget to share this information in the morning meeting, when the customer comes to the company and asks where the key is, no one knows about it, so the customer has to get someone else's help to find the key again. And then the customer gets angry with the company and us. Then this sharing information is very important to prevent things like this. Okay. Let's now see what asking for advice means under business communication. Asking for advice means that when you are facing a problem, you seek advice from people with more experience and knowledge than you and how to solve that problem under effective and efficiently. If you find it difficult to make a decision or reach a point where you are struggling, you should definitely meet with your manager or someone more experienced than you to discuss it and find a solution. Okay, so we've discussed the basic knowledge a service advisor should have. Thank you very much for staying with us. Subscribe to the Automobile Academy channel to watch new videos.